Assalamu alaikum and welcome to a very special episode of Salam Café tonight.
Award-winning Salam Café, actually.
That's right, Antenna award-winning. But let's introduce our new look panel for tonight. We've got Tasneem Chopra, Nazim Hussain, Daklina Mudkul, Tolta Tufu, Tolta Tufa. Sorry about that.
Slowly.
And
sounds like a food. Sorry. I'm sorry to your whole family.
And Asad over here in his new T-shirt.
Yeah, but like my T-shirt, it says "Make chai, not war."
Yay for chai.
Who knows what chai is?
I do. Do people here actually drink chai?
Chai, of course.
I had a cup this morning.
I'm sure everybody at home drinks chai as well. They just
Well, it means tea.
yeah?
Just to clarify.
In how many languages?
Arabic, Russian, Chinese,
Turkish.
Urdu.
Definitely Turkish, yep.
It's amazing. Yeah.
You could be Salam chai today.
And my T-shirt's from hijabman.com.
Okay. Oxymoron.
Well, it's a very special episode of award-winning Salam Café.
Woo! Yeah!
Go Salam Café!
As you can see, we've got these two little TVs on the desk here tonight. These are in fact Antenna Awards.
Can go to plan.
What are Antenna Awards?
The Antennas is an annual national awards night, and it pretty much recognises community television all over Australia. But I think what makes it so important is that they call it Antennas Daklina because it's
because you can only watch the antennas, or you can only watch Channel 31 if you have antennas.
Right, so the Antenna Awards are for all the Channel 31s across Australia.
Yeah, Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth. There were 500 nominees.
Yeah. So it's a national event.
Yeah.
everyone over Australia was watching us.
So what was the atmosphere
Oh,
like?
you should have checked. It was at the BMW Edge.
Yeah, beautiful
thing at
place.
Federation Square.
Gorgeous.
It was packed out.
The red
And,
rug.
oh.
We checked it out, the
That's
red
right.
carpet. It was fantastic.
Everyone got dressed up, looking nice. It was very cool.
They were mingling out the front.
Susan and Waleed take the cake, I reckon. You should have seen them when they were there, totally enjoying it to the
I
T.
think they were in their element, really.
I think it was a bit of a childhood fantasy of them.
That's right. They were mingling with the fans.
Yeah.
Did you get to give out autographs?
Well,
yeah.
someone did.
Yeah, for the first time actually.
Someone's got a fan out there.
Keep that autograph because one day it could be worth something.
Right,
So there were 500 nominees, 31 categories: best panel show, best sports show. We were nominated in 3 categories: best panel, best culturally diverse, and best faith-based. And yeah, alhamdulillah, thank God, we won 2 awards.
And we lost the best panel show to the show that that went on to win the best show.
That's right. And
No limits. We love no limits.
Yeah, so
They use the
we were
same-
very lucky.
Still, this is a real feather in our hijab. I mean, to have scored 2 antennas for a show that's not even 1 year
Yeah,
old.
2 out of 3 ain't
Yeah,
bad.
that's right.
good.
Pretty happy.
And Tolta, you presented some of the awards, didn't you? And I've got to say, you're not just presenting to the people at the thing, because it was shown across Australia, so I don't know, how did that feel?
Thank you. No, that was excellent. It was a really good experience, but I think coming up, everyone's like, were you nervous? No, I wasn't nervous. I was more nervous actually when they were reading out the nominations, when they say, and the nominees for the blah 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 award is, and I'm like, my heart is pounding, thinking, are we going to win? Allah, just one, only one.
Okay,
please.
now Nazim was busy. Not just was he at the antennas, but he was up in Sydney at another function.
Oh,
So
yeah.
let's have a look at Salam Café to go.
It is really not possible for a person to become a true Muslim, a true Mu'min, without seeing the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in front of him in everything that he does. This is very important. We need to read in the seerah, we need to read about the character of the Prophet.
Assalamu alaikum, peace be with all of you. I'm actually here with a very distinguished guest. I'm here in Sydney at the Mission of Hope conference. You've come all the way from Canada, is it?
That's right, Halifax, Canada.
Halifax, Canada. And what do you do in Canada that's made you so special to come down here?
Well, I'm not so special, but professionally speaking, I am a professor teaching both in the departments of management as well as the religious studies, where I teach a number of courses about Islam.
What did you think of the speakers, Jamal Badawi or Brother Anas al-Tikri?
They're all, mashallah, very good. I guess I have a personal favourite, strong leaning towards Jamal Badawi. He was excellent, mashallah, gained a lot of knowledge. May Allah reward him immensely.
Well, you're very well known amongst the Muslim community, not only in Sydney and Melbourne and across Australia, but across the world. But also you've you're quite well known in Canada because you started a television program that ran for 350 episodes, is that right?
That's right. This was a program taped in cable station, local cable station, and the intent essentially was to promote better understanding between Muslims and their fellow people from other faith communities.
We're just about to be blown away. Here we are at the National Theatre in St Kilda, and we've got the privilege of interviewing brother Anas Al-Tikriti from the UK. Born in Iraq, he's been a media figure for the last decade, being on CNN, Al Jazeera, several others. He's a founder member and ex-president of the Muslim Association in Britain. So without further ado, let's go meet him.
My claim to fame basically is that my father went to school with Saddam Hussein. I'm a Tikriti, you see.
My surname's Hussein, so...
Absolutely. Well, you see, I'm from Tikrit, and he's a Tikriti, and I'm a Tikriti. My father went to school with him for a few years, and my grandfather was the head teacher of the school. So my claim to fame was the fact that until very recently, my grandfather was the only man in the world to have slapped Saddam Hussein around a few times in his time.
Do you have a family? Do you have many kids?
I have 5 children and 15 grandchildren so far.
Any great-grandchildren?
Not yet, I'm not that old.
I think it's terrific to see a scholar of the level of Jamal Badawi.
And how many wives do you have?
One.
Okay, only one.
Intention, and never had any intention but one.
So his wife's probably listening to this and very pleased to hear that.
I'm not saying that for fear of my wife, but in reality.
You helped mobilise 2 million people for a peace rally. When was that?
This was in 2003. I have to say that taking down the names of 2 million people was something that took quite a lot of time.
One thing that is rather interesting is that some of the Egyptian, when they speak about J, they put it G. So instead of Jamal, which is phonetically correct, for example, they Gamal. And it says Egyptian came to America. So he went to a hamburger place, and he said, please give me one hamburger. And he said, no, it's not hamburger, you mean hamburger. He said, yes, excuse me, because I am a stringer.
Looked like a very interesting conference then, Azim. How did you enjoy it?
It was fantastic, and Mission of Hope were kind enough to put me up at the Regis Hotel in Sydney.
I'm very concerned with these junkets you're attending now. We're flying around the country.
Where did you actually go?
Well, I went to Sydney. There was a charity dinner there that I was involved with, and then the conferences the next day and the day after. And that was really, really good. There was a great,
Any familiar faces?
Familiar faces.
Not really, no.
Someone put their hand up.
Well, I was there. That was my cue to go in. I was there. It's all right. I was there at the Mission of Hope conference, and there were 2 of them, one on the weekend and one for professionals, and one also separately for the Muslim community. But they're doing so much over there in Sydney, a lot that we have to aspire to in Melbourne. But they also, the speakers also came down to Melbourne.
Yeah, they came to Melbourne and Perth. And
Jamal Badawi and Anas Al-Tikriti were both in Melbourne, but Jamal Badawi specifically was involved with a lot of Melbourne functions, was co-sponsored by the Werribee Islamic Centre to come to Melbourne. He participated in a workshop at Minaret College, at Melbourne University. Also, there was a fundraising dinner as well, which he
How cool was it that Jamal Badawi actually had his own TV show? I mean, if there's any aspiration, guys, 350.
Well, we've had about 14 episodes so far, so we've got another 400 to go if we want to catch up to Canada.
Not too
So that means plenty of Salam Café, so stay tuned.
Don't be sick of
After the break, we'll be back with our guest, Maryam Karim. We'll see you after the break. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to this very special antennas edition of Salam Café.
Yeah, can we have a Salam Café wave where we all just go?
With us today is our very special guest, Maryam Karim. She studies engineering right here at RMIT, and we've got her on today because she's a volunteer for the Melbourne 2006 Commonwealth Games. Assalamu alaikum, Maryam.
Walaikum salam. Thanks for having me out here, and congratulations on the Tenor Awards.
Thank you. You better be watching every episode from now on.
Yeah, no, I'm one of the big fans.
Very good.
You're obviously a fan of the Commonwealth Games and sports in general as well. How did you get about doing... What is the Commonwealth Games all about, and how are you involved? Not everyone knows, we're not a sports fan.
Mentioned, I'm a volunteer, and I basically got involved because I'm part of a group called Islamic Girls Women's Group, and we're basically a group trying to push the sort of change in misconceptions that female people have out there of female Muslims. And the Commonwealth Games people just kind of approached us and said, you know, would your group like to get involved? And basically, you know,
that's great.
Yes,
so
basically
they came knocking.
Yeah, they wanted the female Muslims to get involved, and because Commonwealth Games is about diversity, and I mean, you just look at the countries that are involved, like, you know, you have most of Africa, you know, parts of America, Asia as well. So it's a very diverse type of games, and you know, it's known as the friendly games. So.
So your job's to make them even more friendly.
Yes, pretty much.
In fact, I remember when I lived in Sydney, I went to the Olympic Games there, and there were so many volunteers that at the end of, when the Olympics finished, had a volunteers ceremony where they actually marched through the street. It was fantastic.
So maybe we'll have one and you'll be on there too.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we can cheer because we know you, and we've had you on our show.
Better still, we can all be there with you.
Yeah, of course.
So even though they came looking for you guys, did you still have to go through an interview process? And,
oh yeah, no, definitely. Like, you definitely had to. Like, I had to apply online.
Okay.
That's how I went about it, and then you know, they called me for an interview. And
is it anything like Australian Idol, where you have to sit before 3 judges and then demonstrate volunteering, and then they say you're
Commonwealth Games ability?
So they just ask you, you know, can you just get us a cup of tea, clean up, build a fence?
Oh, you can play and get out.
It wasn't quite like that. It wasn't quite like that.
So what role do you play with the volunteering? Like what area do you do?
They haven't sort of totally finalised all the volunteers.
Not yours in particular, but what will the volunteers be doing?
Right.
It sort of varies. It's sort of up to the volunteer, because when you do apply, you sort of express your interest in terms of which area you'd like to get involved with. Like, you can get involved with the village, which is where the athletes will be staying. You can get involved with like a particular field that you're studying. So if you want to sort of deal with like the IT side of the Commonwealth Games, you can get involved with that. Or if you want to, you know, deal with like, you know, being at the opening ceremony. That
What would you like to get involved in? Like, what's your area of interest?
Basically, I'm hoping to sort of be assisting a particular country. So being like a, you know, sort of, you know, when the athletes come down here, being the sort of medium between, you know, their experience.
At the village sort of thing.
Or at the airport? Like, do you meet them from the beginning when they come down?
Well, I'm not sure of the fine details.
So you'll be like the tour guide for a particular team from a country.
Yeah,
Can you get awesome job?
Just, you know, letting them know about Melbourne and the opportunities here, and like sort of making their stay fairly comfortable, like, you know, sort of.
Well, beyond the thrill and privilege of, you know, being a volunteer with the Games, which is such a prestigious event, will you also get the chance to, say, get a free ticket?
I don't know about that. I don't know. I think I'm pushing it. I don't even know if I can get a free ticket myself.
The reason we're having you on now, because as we know, the call for volunteers is already over, so they're not calling for any new volunteers, but there is a recent call out for cast members for the opening ceremonies.
A casting call, I think.
Yeah, for cast members for the opening ceremonies and closing ceremonies. So there's still one last chance to get involved in the Games, not as a volunteer during the Games, but for the opening and closing ceremonies, which are almost as glamorous as the Antenna Awards.
In fact, I remember in Sydney in the opening ceremony, people volunteered and there could be a hammer or something running around. If you remember the opening ceremony, they had lawnmowers and it was fantastic.
Got all those elaborate, you know, sea of people with coloured cardboard placards spelling things out.
Yeah. Everyone is important. So.
Yeah, and it's your chance to get involved in the community as well. Just come to our website, www.salamcafe.com.au, and find out more information about.
Yeah, we'll have a link to the casting call for the opening and closing ceremonies.
So anyone and everyone can have a chance at volunteering. Is that what?
That's right. Yeah.
So even though you don't get paid and or, you know, you don't get too many privileges, you know, free tickets, any of that, where do you derive your satisfaction from? Is it from just, you know, giving something? I don't know. I
You must be a sports fan, I'm assuming, because Commonwealth Games is all sports based. So
yeah, like I do admit I do have like a love for sport. Unfortunately, there's no cricket in the Commonwealth Games.
She likes cricket too.
It's not a bad thing necessarily.
Yeah, but I'm a big fan of like I always follow the Olympic Games and the Commonwealth Games, and you know, like I've always been a fan of sport like basketball, soccer.
So what do you do with yourself when you're not volunteering?
I'm trying to, you know, balance my studies, work, and I'm also involved with my student union and RMIT.
So you volunteer a lot.
Yeah.
Which is excellent because part of the ethic Islamically is to give back to our community.
Right.
So whether it's at university or whether it's the community in general or whether it's internationally and we have an opportunity, it's part of our ethic.
There's a saying of the Prophet. You were going to say one, I'm going to say another one. Is I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that the left hand does not know what the right hand gives. So you're helping without even hesitating, sort of thing. I think we see it.
Yeah, without expecting anything in return, because you're.
And the best of you is the one who helps others, who's the most beneficial to others, whether it's with the Commonwealth Games or just picking up a wood from the road like you mentioned in a previous episode, yeah.
Awesome. So, like, when do you start, preparing yourself for the...
Training. Is there training for you?
At the moment, some of the volunteers are getting trained.
When do you get your uniform? Do you have like a hijab that's...
It's got the Commonwealth Games logo on it.
Melbourne 2006 all over.
I haven't quite worked out those fine details, but I'll remember to chase them up about it.
So you just one more thing, Maryam. Do you have a message for anyone, to tell anyone out there who's probably less interested? What would you say to them to, win them over, take them over the edge and say, yes, I'm actually going to apply, or, get involved? Yeah.
Well, all the information's out on the website, which is www.melbourne2006.com.au. There's heaps of opportunities, like you can get involved with there's employment opportunities. So if you have a particular skill and you want to get involved with the games, there's the baton's going around as well, so you can get involved with that.
Now. That's already happening.
Yeah, so you can find out where it is and sort of maybe chase up. There's also a tree planting session as well. Right. So if you want to get involved with that,
where do you plan on doing anything apart from the Commonwealth Games once it's over? Do you see yourself wanting to apply for any other similar positions?
The next Olympics.
Yeah, the next Olympics.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
why not just
training ground.
Yeah.
Well, your group sounds like it's very active. And how often do you meet?
We try to meet as often as possible, once a month, or it's hard because we're all studying or and.
Thanks very much, Maryam.
No, thank you.
It's good to see you getting out there and getting involved in the community.
Give a credit to the community.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm going to go around.
And we look forward to maybe seeing you behind the scenes at the Commonwealth Games. So we'll be back after the break with more Salam Café. Welcome back to this special antennas edition of Salam Café.
Another token song.
Are we going to play Woo every time we say antennas?
And we actually need a bit of glue on that one because we've done too much partying and celebrating, I think.
That's right. It's all happening here. Channel 31's just going off. I think every show on C31's been talking about the antennas.
Yep.
Now let's get to our
very, very special segment of tonight's program. A couple of weeks ago, we put out a challenge to all the viewers to send in response to, we had to complete the following. It was, as my grandmother used to say, we had a flurry of emails. People were sending in all sorts of responses. We shortlisted about, a handful. Mm-hmm. From Sister Salama, she said, as my grandmother always used to say, do your homework. So that's
very standard. Very standard grandmother.
Whose grandmother
comment?
didn't say that? I wonder.
All right. We've got one here from Belinda Peterson. She said, as my grandmother always used to say, don't go to bed without your camphor bag sewn to your singlet.
Camphor.
Camphor bag.
Camphor.
It smells nice. Yeah, it smells nice.
You reckon it smells nice?
Well, I don't know if it smells nice.
Make sure you sew it to your singlet before you go to sleep. So that's what Belinda Peterson said.
Breathing easy.
Got one from Hashmat Mosley. He said, as my grandmother always used to say, if you do not be good, I'll bite you. I loved it because she did not have any teeth. Whenever she was true to her word, I used to be left on the ground with laughter in my guts and slime on his arm. She used to bite him. She used to bite him with a gum.
He used to slime him.
I got two more to read out. From Mustafa Asik.
Grandmothers like that.
Yep. This one says, as my grandmother used to say, marry a girl with a beautiful heart, not a beautiful face. He's also said he's still single.
I was waiting for that part.
I think that's the punchline of the joke.
We've got some very wise grandmothers in the audience, I can tell you that.
There's more still, okay, because I think that the best stands for the as my grandmother always used to say.
I got one here, actually.
Another one.
We'll see if this one's better than yours. This one's from Brother Abdul Nasser. He says, as my grandmother always used to say, don't put the wet towel on the heater because the house will burn down.
Even with wet towels.
But that's pretty good advice.
Yeah.
That's a try.
No, seriously,
tough competition.
The emails have definitely been really phenomenal, the response. I remember clicking on once I logged onto the website to say, let's see who's responded, and some people have responded like, no joke, like 10 emails from the one person, like, dying to get on.
We've got some very dedicated viewers, and I think one of our best answers is actually from this
Yeah, well, this is the
Brother
winner.
or
Tasneem
sister?
will be announcing the winning email.
They did. Well, actually, before we do that, there's a few. So there are about 10 responses. There were about 10 responses from this one, S. Ahmed, so you know who you are. The highlights from their email were, as my grandmother always used to say, clothes make the imam, as opposed to clothes make the man. As my grandmother always used to say, when in Rome, live like the Muslim Romans.
And we know what it's like, yeah.
That's a little cryptic, I think.
That's some weird grandmothers.
As my grandmother always used to say, when I was a kid, we walked 4 miles every day to the masjid.
That's something I can relate to, yeah.
In the snow and hail.
Yeah. This is the absolute winner. Okay,
So the winner-
drum roll now if you like.
All right.
As my grandmother used to say, a salat in the masjid is worth 2 in the bush.
Hey, that's a good round of applause for that one.
Thank you.
Okay, or just
that was a fantastic response.
But I'd like to give a
Should actually be 25, but anyway.
I want to give a special mention to one of our viewers who sent in an email. They know who they are. A very touching and loving email about their grandmother. So I'll just like to pass that on. Thank you.
Okay, well, thanks to all our viewers for sending in those emails. The response has been phenomenal. So we've got a new question and a brand new question that'll be up on the website.
Just before we go on to that, just that winning email, a salat in the masjid or in the mosque is worth, so a prayer in the mosque is worth 2 in the bush. I think the view, that's almost correct. It's actually, how many times is it?
25.
It's what, 20, 25, 27?
So praying in the mosque will actually give you 25 times more blessings than if you were...
So the saying should actually be, a salat in the mosque is worth
25
27 in the
I
bush.
think we'll just make the whole humour and the punchline. But anyway.
Okay, now,
on to next week's question.
New question.
Shall I take over this part? All right. Our next week's question is...
You've got 2 weeks for this one. You've got 2 weeks to
Do they? Okay. Another complete the sentence. When I was younger, I once... ...
Oh,
that's asking for trouble, that question.
Isn't it? I think all of us here have something that we can say that we did when we were younger, but I don't know if we want to. That's the question.
Instead reveal their first skeleton.
Well, I got a small one actually. When I was young, we used to always talk when we were at home in a Sri Lankan accent, and when we were at school or outside of the home in an Australian accent. I remember, when I used to go to school, I'd be like, "Hi guys, how's it going?" And then my mum thinks I'll go, "Hello mum, how is it going?" And then, my friends would see me and I'd be around my mum and I'd go, "Good day, mate," and I'd be all confused.
But don't you still do that?
Oh, yes.
Adapt a little according to which culture you're with.
But I don't freak out
I think
as
we
much.
should leave it to the audience, guys.
Yeah.
Send us an email, let us know what you think, and we'll definitely read out your response.
Toltu won't, but somebody else will.
Someone who can say responsibly that.
Fair enough. So send us an email, please. We'd love to hear from you, seriously. And
Okay, well, that wraps up our antenna, special antennas episode of Salam Café.
Award-winning Salam Café.
And we'll see you all next week, inshallah. Stay tuned, and we'll leave you with scenes of the Salam Café after party at the little cafe across the road.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. See you next week.
Congratulations, Salam Café.
Me autograph? Well, okay, maybe.
Gonna win, mate.
I'll do it again. I think you're empty.